Hello, everyone. How you going? Oh, I don't know what it's like in your part of the world, but it's absolutely teeming down out there. Hang on a sec. I just need to make some adjustments. Wobble, wobble. It's better. Get my light and my camera right. Hello, Alison. How you going? G'day, Nareem and all the dies. Good to see you. Very exciting to be here tonight. I survived turning 50, so thank you for all the kind wishes. I'm wearing my gold top in honour of my golden jubilee for you tonight. Right, Emily and Kevin, how you going? Good to see you. So tonight I was in a bit of a quandary because I found out just a hello, Sharpie and Rod. How you going? I think it's time for a glass of wine, isn't it? Let's get this show on the road. Now, I was wondering because today, apparently, I just found out a couple of days ago, is International Pinot Noir Day. So I thought, oh, maybe we should do a quick presto changeo. But then I thought, no, we've had this in the diary for a while. So I thought we would do our Pinot Gris on skins tonight, which is made the same way as we make Pinot Noir. So it's almost the same thing. Hello, Anthony and Brigitte. How lovely to see you. And I thought next week we might just do a general Pinot Noir session as an interim between box 4 and box 5. So that's my suggestion. I'll come back to that at the end, but have a think about it. There's no cocktails that I really feel like sort of playing with next week. So yes. Hello, Shell and Andrew. How you going? I need a wine as well. I don't know what was going on this week. Peter's on pizza. Judy's. Hello, Karen. Okay, let's get this bottle open. 2021 Pinot Gris on skins. Looking beautiful. It's a little bit paler in colour than the previous one. It's still got lots of pigment to it. So let's put some pink in the glass. Here we go. I've got Peter and Jill and Richard on the sidelines, so I might as well pour myself a decent glass because I think that's probably all I'm going to get. They'll come and steal my bottle, and then it'll all be over. So 2021 Pinot on skins. Cheers, everyone. Doesn't that look gorgeous? It's got a little bit of it's not like 100% clear. It's pretty clear, but there's just a little bit of haze, which is sort of a result of the red wine making technique that we've used here. Because it's such a pale wine, there's a little bit of sediment in there, which you wouldn't normally see in a red wine because the depth of colour would hide it. Paul and Roz are having internet problems. Yeah, I'm actually amazed that this is working at the moment, touching lots of wood, because we've had an amazing storm come through. For those of you who are local, you'll absolutely know what I'm talking about. Hello, Polly. And the dogs and Jill and Richard all got completely soaked in the rain. I decided not to go because I didn't think I'd be able to get myself in a fit state to sit in front of you in time. So anyway, it's raining outside, teeming down. Hello, Polly, with the wet head. Good time to be inside. Not a dropping queue. Oh, no. Oh, well, maybe it's on its way, Sharpie and Rod. But I think it's kind of, if you look at the radar, it's like this knife blade of a huge amount of rain coming all the way from Adelaide to the Mornington Peninsula and then down out into the Bass Strait and possibly hitting Tasmania. I can't remember. Hello, Sarah. How are all the tricks? Good to see you. So Pinot Gris on skins. Back to the wine. Enough about the weather. I'm getting little nose kisses from my little dog down here. Hang on, Paul. Say hello. Say hello to people. Whoopsie do. There she look. She's all wet, but she's had her dinner, so it's all okay. Look, there's the people. Yep. Good girl. Emily, you're drinking the 2020. Okay, cool. 2020 at the farm, 2021's up in the city. Well, the 2020 is drinking beautifully right now, and I don't know if anyone's got any back vintages of Pinot Gris on skins. I didn't hold enough of it back from any of the previous vintages for us to do this in this format, but we might have to have a little Pinot Gris tasting at Moorooduc at some stage to have a little play. Oh, Alison, I heard about Leo. I look forward to having a look at the picture. Hello, Leo. Welcome to the fam. So as I said, slightly less color, but it's still got lots of depth there. And the nose is beautiful. 2021, let's think back to 2021. 2021 was actually a really nice vintage, apart from the fact that it was the second year of the pandemic and we were sort of in and out of lockdowns, and around Easter was a pretty stressful time for us. 2021 as a vintage, it was quite small, but beautifully formed. We think that the wines from 2021 in general are pretty delicious, and we've got this lovely kind of balance of bright fruit, fresh acidity, good tannins in the reds. So really nice balance, really lovely freshness and brightness. I think that when we get round to looking at the 2021 estate wines, be they Chardonnay, Pinot Gris or Pinot Noir, I think we'll have a lot of fun with those. They're still a little way away. They need a bit more bottle age. With the Pinot Gris on skins, we're selling it faster than we can make it at the moment, which is a good problem and a bad problem to have. The 2021 we've just released, and there's very small quantities of it. So if you do enjoy this wine tonight, then don't leave it too long to stock up. The 2022 is not going to be ready for a little while. We'll be bottling that at the end of this year. So, and in 2023, as long as we get a decent crop of Pinot Noir of the appropriate quality, we will be expanding our production of this wine, because it's been a real kind of success for us. So it's a really lovely style. You guys have come on the journey of sort of exploring how it goes from year to year. And I think as a food wine and as something a little bit different from Moorooduc, it's really good fun. So let's actually get into the wine. Here's Pete. Pete, there's the wine if you'd like to grab it. Help yourself. All right, on the nose, it's got a really typical Pinot Gris on skins nose. Excuse me, I've still got a little bit of a croaky throat from the weekend. Who would have thunk it? It's got that really distinctive character on the nose. For me, it's a combination of strawberry, like those wild mountain strawberries that you get in the French markets that you have to eat as soon as you pick them, otherwise they go squishy. They've got this beautiful kind of perfume to them. There's a little bit of rhubarb. Sorry, can't speak today either. Rhubarb, rose petal. I was getting my rhubarb and my rose petal mixed together because I was getting overexcited. There's also this sort of savoury pickled ginger, pickled plum kind of aromatic as well, which suggests that it's not just going to be kind of a sweet fruity wine, but there's other things going on. I do think that nose is quite complex. There's a little bit of citrus Pete's seeing there, and I see it's kind of a little orange, kind of orange rind, orange oil kind of character. There's a little bit of that Campari note that we get in some of our Pinot Noirs. And I think it's just quite complex on the nose, and it's opening up really nicely. On the palate, it looks more like a red wine than a white wine, I think. And just to remind you that we make this wine exactly the same way as we make our Pinot Noir. So it's had 19 days on skins. It's had the whole wild ferment. It's been plunged twice a day while it's fermenting. So we've pulled a lot of colour and tannin and flavour out of those skins, and that really kind of manifests on the palate. It's got that lovely texture and palate weight. There's the freshness. It's much more savoury on the palate than you expect from the nose. A little bit of orange blossom. Funnily enough, Alison, this top, last time I wore it, I was wearing a perfume that's got quite a bit of orange blossom in it. So I'm getting that perfume off my top. But I agree, there's a little orange blossom kind of perfume in the wine as well. Sharpie and Rod, I think it's drinking very nicely right now. I totally agree. And when I was thinking about food and wine matches, I was like, oh, do we go down the sort of the sushi sashimi dumpling path, or do we go down the Italian path? And I think we've done the sushi sashimi thing, and you can always do those types of food with this wine. It copes with the spice, it copes with the raw fish, the oil in the raw fish, all of those kind of things. It does really nice things with. But we haven't really gone hard on the sort of the tomato-based Italian food, and so that was my suggestion for today. So if you are having a tomato-based pizza or pasta, or even if you've got some nice kind of washed rind cheese to go with this wine. I think those will be really super fantastic. What's Shell having? Salty, creamy penne al salmone. Beautiful garlic prawn pizza, but the pasta's a standard. Oh, sounds good. Ragazzi in Middle Park. It was one of my old haunting grounds, Middle Park. I grew up there. Sounds delicious. So yeah, so this, I always say, and people laugh at me when I say it, but this wine goes really well with savoury pink food. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it, the fish that goes well with this is pink fish. It's tuna, it's salmon, it's prawns, it's lobster. Things that are pink and red in the seafood world work really, really well with this wine. Tomato-based dishes always, I think, work brilliantly with this. But if we're going for cheeses, I like something with a bit of stink, a little bit of washed rind, a bit of ooey gooiness. Just kind of contrasts really nicely with the wine, and the wine handles it particularly the saltiness of a Taleggio. It's got that real kind of washed rind stink to it, but it's got a real saltiness to it. And with some nice crusty bread or some focaccia, this is an absolute delight. If you had the opportunity to get some pizza with Taleggio on it, that would also have been pretty yummy. Risotto works well as well. So this wine is still being bottled the same way as being packaged the same way that we have from the beginning. This is our experimental wine label. You guys will remember that we, as well as the Pinot Gris on skins, we've got the Magic Stork Shiraz. We've got another experimental Pinot Noir that we're bottling and organising labels for as we speak. And Jeremy and I are trying to come up with clever names and descriptors for a wine that we basically bashed with our feet for the time that it took us to drink a gin and tonic. So trying to encapsulate all of that and why we did it in the wine on the label is good fun at the moment. We'll have to have a taste of that very soon. Hello, Jeremy. Starting to think 21s tend to play their structure card first. Absolutely. So the year just made phenolics one of the first things you look at. Not huge, just a significant part of the wine. And I agree, Jeremy. I think as a young wine, it's got a fruitiness on the nose, but those phenolics and that savouriness and that structure on the palate is really, really delicious and very intriguing. And yeah, Alison, I do think it's got that kind of salty, sweet tomato like character in the wine as well, which is why I think it goes so well with tomato. And I may have told you this story before, but if I haven't, good. If I have, please bear with me for a moment. But the first time we realised that this wine works with tomato was when we were doing our tomato passata day here with our Italian friends. And we just bottled this wine fairly recently. We had no idea how we were going to sell it, drink it, whatever. Oh, yes, Peter, a yellow tomato pizza sounds lovely. Would you like to make us one? That would be delightful. But we were making tomato passata, and our Italian friend was making lunch, and she basically got all of the offcuts of the tomatoes that weren't in good enough condition to go into the passata. So a little bit of mold, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Cooked them all up with lots of olive oil and garlic and salt and pepper. So it was a really simple sauce. Cooked, what are they called? Those little pasta shells that look like you've stuck your thumb in them. Are they cavatelli? Anyway, those ones. Orecchietti. Yeah, they look like little ears. That's right. Cooked a big bag of those and put them all together and like served up this huge steaming bowl of tomato pasta. And Dad said, hey, why don't we try that Pinot Gris on skins? You know, any excuse to open a new wine and see how it goes. And oh yeah, all right, let's give it a go. And it was just magnificent with the food, that freshly made tomato sauce, the pasta, the wine. It was just an absolute match made in heaven. So it was one of those revelations for me, because most of the wine that we make here at Moorooduc, certainly Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, I don't think goes very well with tomato at all, because tomato has a very complex aroma flavour profile. It's a fruit, but it's savoury. It's got a lot of umami, so it's kind of very, very it's got that very savoury kind of earthy character, meaty character to it. It's also got a lot of sugar. It's got a lot of acid in it. So tomato is really hard to match to a lot of wines. It works well with some Rhone-style Syrah, Grenache kind of wines. It works brilliantly with Sangiovese from Italy and a lot of other Italian varietals. But French varietals, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, don't work so well with tomato. Pinot Gris as a white wine, I think, doesn't always work well with tomato, but Pinot Gris on skins as a red wine has enough savouriness, has enough umami, has enough body and texture to it that it handles the complexity and the flavour of tomato. And tomato is one of my favourite things in the world, so I'm always happy to find a wine that matches to it. As it opens up, I think that the aromas are getting more savoury. You're getting more of that sort of salted plum. You're getting more of that sweet tomato, almost sweet sort of oven-dried or roasted tomatoes coming out there. There's a little balsamic vinegar character as well, which is very subtle, but I think kind of adds to the complexity of the wine. And it changes in the glass all the time. You'll notice I'm using a Pinot Noir glass, which I think is fantastic for this wine because it is Pinot Gris, but it's made like Pinot Noir, so it behaves like a Pinot Noir in and of itself. See you, Pete. See you, Tallulah. But I love it in these glasses because it opens up more, and again, you get some more cherry and strawberry coming out again as the air gets into it. Kind of that fruit comes back in waves, which I think is very cool. Shell, the Robinson Pinot Noir is a perfection with Middle Eastern tomato-infused dishes. Ah, good. Well, we'll have to try that next time we have a Robinson Pinot Noir in the mix. How's everyone's week been? Shell, you indicated that it had been quite stressful for you. I hope everyone else has had a nice week. Thursday comes around quickly, doesn't it? It's fantastic. I'm back from my holiday. I'm back from my changing year and changing decade into the next one. Coping so far. No sleep, Alison. Well, with a puppy in the house, I have to have a quick look at the picture. Oh, no, I can't see the picture. With a in the house, it'd be very, very cute. Hang on. Oh, my goodness. What is Leo? Is he a spoodle or a cavoodle or something? He looks a bit boodly. Too many Zoom meetings, not enough actual work time. Understood, Shell. It is. Life's getting a bit hectic at the moment. I don't know what's going on. It's supposed to be... Well, I do know what's going on. We're trying to make up for the last 2 years. It's been a bit strange. Cobber dog. Oh, I've heard about them. Cobber dogs are... Noreen said yesterday, Avo, when you realised it wasn't Thursday. I'm having a bit of trouble keeping up with the days as well. So a cobber dog is a Labradoodle, but 5th generation. Yeah, so I met someone else who had one of those up in Brisbane, and he explained all about it, that they were bred as companion dogs or assistance dogs. So high quality Labradoodles from many generations. Awesome. Well, you'll have lots of fun with him, and hopefully he'll learn how to sleep through the night soon. Don't let him sleep on your bed unless you want him to sleep on your bed for the rest of your life. That's my only piece of advice I will give you. Hey, Paul. She's gone to sleep. She's just there. Oh, no, where is she? There she is. So what else can I say? Blah, 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 blah. I think I've lost my ability to gabble on for 45 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. Get me back on the wine. Jeremy has asked if I think this wine style, is it better with food matching than the white Pinot Gris, and is it the phenolics? So I do think that this wine, first of all, compared to the white Pinot Gris, it is quite different. And I think the white Pinot Gris is a very good food wine as well, but it's a bit hard. The white Pinot Gris is a bit harder to match to food because it's medium acid. It's got that kind of slippery texture to it. It's great with cheeses, but other things, it's a bit more specific cheese, egg, bacon, those kind of flavours. But I do think that this wine, it calls out for food, even if you're just sitting around. And we were talking, Mum and I were talking earlier today, and she said that she does like this wine a lot. She prefers it in summer when it's a little bit warmer outside. But that she'd have a glass tonight anyway. So good on you, Jill. But I agree, it's a lovely sort of summer red. You can serve it slightly chilled on a hot day with cured meats and cheese and all sorts of yummy nibbly things. But it does really like a lot of food matching. So Emily, what is phenolics? Excellent question. Phenolics is very similar in white wine. Phenolics is very similar to what we talk about when we talk about tannins in red wine, but phenolics tend to be less bitter, but still textural. So it's that weighty feeling, and it's that sort of slightly granular texture that you get on the mid palate when you put it in your mouth. White wines like a lot of Rieslings, a lot of Sauvignon Blancs don't have very much phenolics, and the phenolics come from the skins. So this is why when we're talking about phenolics in white wine, it's very closely related to tannins in red wine. We use the two different terms because it sort of differentiates the texture and the weight of that. What am I trying to say, Jeremy? That textural quality that is phenolics and tannins in wine. So it gives the wine the feeling on the palate. You get glycerols as well in a lot of white wine. And this wine, so when we're talking about the white Pinot Gris, and we'll have some white Pinot Gris in the next box, then we talk less about phenolics and more about glycerols as far as the texture is concerned. And glycerols are what make honey or oil kind of thick. Alison is asking about phenolics versus tannins. So as I understand it, and I haven't ever had to kind of really go into great depth about this, for me, phenolics are more gentle than tannins, and tannins are more bitter and more textural than phenolics. So the phenolics are what you start getting when you start to have solids in the juice. Jeremy's coming with the super geeky answer. I'm doing the art student answer at the moment. So solids in the juice of white wine will give you phenolics, which is sort of that texture. Tannins in red wine give you more weight, more bitterness, more dryingness on the palate. So this wine, because we make it like a white wine, we may actually be using phenolics slightly incorrectly with this wine. We talk about phenolics and we talk about tannins in this wine. They're not necessarily two ends of a spectrum. And Alison, I'll just keep talking until Jeremy's typed answer pops up, because it will be much more academically correct than anything that I could come up with off the top of my head. So when we talk about texture in wine, it's harder in a way to describe than aromas and flavours. So aromas and flavours, we talk about sort of, we smell flowers, we smell red fruit, we smell black fruit, we smell citrus fruit, we smell tropical fruit. We see we see those characters manifesting themselves as aromas and flavours in the wine. Then you can talk about what the tongue can actually taste as compared to what you can smell when you're smelling and tasting wine. And what your tongue is able to detect are the five different tastes, and that's salt, sugar, acid, bitter, and umami, which is the savoury. It's a Japanese word. It means savouriness. And you get a lot of umami in things like Vegemite is salty, but it's also umami. You get a lot of umami in tomatoes. You get a lot of umami in mushrooms. So they're the things that your tongue can taste. Everything else that you taste when you put wine or food in your mouth, you're actually smelling in the back of your nose, your retronasal cavity. So that's why if you have a cold, you can't taste as much as you normally would, as well as not being able to smell as much as or anything. And they say if you've got a really big cold and you can't smell anything, if you bite into a slice of apple, a slice of potato, and a slice of onion, you can't tell the difference because they all have sugar in them. And the other characters in them, the thing that make your eyes water and that makes onion really kind of astringent, the things that make apple taste like apple and potato taste like potato, are all aromas that you smell retronasally while you're tasting. Jeremy, you're taking a long time to write this super geeky answer. I'm getting a little bit scared. Shell, I love your recommendation. Thank you very much. Always good to have extra things. Stanley Tucci's audiobook Taste. He's also hasn't he got a TV show as well, which I was going to have a look. I think that sounds awesome. And I think when I was talking to you about pizza and pasta with this wine, you came back with a Stanley Tucci reference as well, which I think is awesome. Okay, Jeremy, here we go. Phenolics are a family of chemical structures that include lots of things in wine. They include the bits that result in colour. They include the components that result in the perception of structure, tannin, mouthfeel. So phenolics is the big umbrella term for colour things and tannin things. They're related, they interact, they need each other to do their thing. Thank you, Jeremy. That's awesome. So tannins are a subsection of phenolics, but phenolics are also about the colour. And for me, when I talk about phenolics, it's usually as I said before, in relation to white wine, but in a red wine like this, that has got quite a lot of tannin, but the colour and the texture is more than just that granular tannin character. It's slippery, and it kind of sits, for me, phenolics as well kind of sit in the sides of your mouth. So again, back to how we taste with our tongue, a lot of people, and this has been hasn't been disproved, but it's been kind of, it's not quite as simple as this, but very simply, a lot of the acid that you taste, you'll taste on the side of your tongue. So just here and here, that was attractive. And sugar, you taste on the tip of your tongue, which is why if you're tasting champagne base, for example, which is very high in acid and has low sugar fruitiness, champagne tasters will put the base wine in their mouth and then they'll push it with the tip of their tongue into the back of their front teeth. And if you've been a champagne taster, blender, winemaker for many decades, you end up often with a hole in between your two front teeth where the acid in the champagne base has drilled through the teeth, trying to taste the fruit and not taste the acid. So using your tongue in that way, trying to kind of just use bits of your tongue and not other bits of your tongue, is quite interesting as far as tasting the fruitiness or the acidity of the wine. But for me, tannin kind of hits all the mouth. It hits the roof of the mouth and under the tongue and in the cheeks. But phenolics are what kind of sits just almost in that little channel between your cheeks and your lower teeth. You get this kind of feeling of savouriness and texture in your mouth when you hold the wine in your mouth. If you take a sip and then kind of swirl it around your mouth and get the acid on the sides of my tongue, but then my cheeks that are right next to the sides of my tongue and across the back of my tongue, you feel that phenolic character, which I think is really fascinating. So I hope that kind of makes that all make a little bit more sense. Shell, YouTube won't let me put an email in. Oh, it's Gmail. I'll send you some PDFs. Okay. Okay, you guys, if you need me to connect you later on, if you're having trouble sharing with each other, let me know and I'll introduce you. We can always do that with the gang. I just don't like to give out people's email addresses unless they ask me to. So, team, how's your Pinot Gris on skins going with your pizza, pasta, cheese, whatever? Are there any other questions about this wine? Any other comments? It's the first of Is it the first 2021 that we've tasted, or did we taste one of the Devil Ben? I think we tasted the Devil Ben Creek Chardonnay a few weeks ago, possibly in the last box. The 2021s are magnificent, but we've got lots of other magnificents to come before we kind of launch into all of those. A lot of you have already ordered the next box. Thank you. And the next box is quite exciting. As promised last week, after we had the discussion about older wines and wine under cork and that kind of thing, we do have a mystery red wine that's under cork that's gone into the box. We will talk about, I'm sure that at least one of you, and there's no way we can tell until you open the wine, but I have a gut feeling that at least one of us will get a corked wine from that experiment. We'll talk at the time when we're tasting about how you can tell whether the wine's corked or whether it's just old and needs a bit of air, or whether it's just a bit older than you like it to be and it might not be to your taste. I think we had a taste of it, and it started out looking a bit kind of somber and structured, and with a bit of air opened up really nicely. So that'll be a fun wine to taste. We've also got a new vintage of Pinot Gris, the white Pinot Gris. We've got an older Pinot Gris that we haven't tasted together, which we'll talk about. We have an older Chardonnay, a Robinson Chardonnay, which has got a good story. So we've got lots of stories coming up in the next box. And something else, a Pinot Noir, a new estate Pinot Noir, the 2019, which we're nearly ready to release. So you guys will get a little pre-release tasting. Nareem, the email went out yesterday with the link for the new box. Jeff is having a couple of days. He has his weekend on Thursday and Friday. So it's not up on the website yet, but I'm sure he will put it up on the weekend, and you'll be able to just go into the website and go from there. But if you didn't get the email yesterday, which was about the tasting today, and it had a link to the box on there. But if you can't find it, just let me know and I'll flick it through to you again. The interstate orders that have come in, we've already sent off. So thank you guys. They should get to you hopefully in good time for starting the next box. Next week, we're going to have a celebration of International Pinot Noir Day a week late. And what I'm going to suggest to you is that you just bring a bottle of Pinot Noir, and we'll talk about Pinot Noir in all its guises. So if you want to introduce something to the group that we haven't talked about before, you can tell us all about it on the chat. I will bring a Pinot Noir. I can't decide what I'm going to bring yet. It might be Moorooduc. It might be something else. We'll see what takes my fancy. If I can find something interesting that's easily accessible, I might give you a couple of suggestions on Monday with the email. And then I'm hoping to start the new box the following week. So I'll keep in touch with those of you who are interstate and just make sure that you've got your box before we get started. If we have to have another filler week, then we can. It's going to be really interesting, this box. Over the next 7-8 weeks, I will be in Europe for 3 weeks, and I've just looked at the time zones, and I reckon I might be able to still do Drinks with Kate with you. I'll have to open a bottle with my breakfast, but I think that would be quite fun. So I will be bringing Drinks with Kate from the UK and from Italy if I can make that happen. So that's part of the fun. Oh, Jeremy's got some more interesting things to say about phenolics. One more thing, all the phenolics are chemically kind of related. They all have similar structural formation, but importantly, colour and tannin are in the family. After water and alcohol, they're the next biggest thing in volume in a glass of wine. Thank you, Jeremy. Emily, we'll have to compare notes about when and where we're going to be in Italy. Maybe we can meet for an aperitivo somewhere. I'm going to be in Italy the first week of October, so I'll be in Tuscany. If anyone else is in Tuscany in the first week of October, let me know. We'll see if we can catch up for a drink. That would be very fun. Molto bello. In the meantime, have a lovely evening. Stay inside out of the rain if it's raining where you are. It certainly is where I am. Thank you for joining me for the beautiful Pinot Gris on skins. It feels like the colour's getting darker in the glass, but I think I'm just going to getting used to the fact that it was a bit paler than the previous ones. I think it's looking gorgeous. Enjoy it with your food. Thank you, Peter and Karen. Did you get your pizzas eventually? Poor Peter. I hope you didn't miss the whole session, but the wine will still be there, I'm sure. Yes, so until next week, I will say cheers. Don't forget to find your favourite bottle of Pinot Noir, and we can say your favourite bottle of Pinot Noir that's not Moorooduc Estate, or you can definitely bring a bottle of Moorooduc Estate Pinot Noir to the party. We will talk about Pinot Noir as a grape variety. Why do we need an International Pinot Noir Day? Well, I think we need an International Everything Day. Oh, Alejandro, hello, cheers. And in the meantime, yeah, have a lovely evening. Have a great week. I'll see you back here next week with a glass of Pinot Noir. Cheers, everyone. Take care. Also, if you're in Sydney and you want to catch up with me for a drink, I sent out in the email yesterday when I'm going to be there. Craig and family, I've got you on the list. If anyone else wants to join us, just let me know as soon as possible. In the meantime, see you later, guys. Cheers, everyone. See you, Shell. See you, team. Where's the button? There we go. Bye. Good night. Oh, hi, Nigel. He made it.